This program is brought to you by DeKuek Media. Fixing South Sudan, ideas for the new nation. With award-winning journalist Mading Mor.
Absolutely.
Honorable Ashwin, as you can see, the ideas of the initiatives are varied.
On July 8th, the clashes in J1 took place, which was very unfortunate.
Including country-specific ones, which and the rebellion continue to be
Fixing South Sudan, ideas for the new nation.
Hello and welcome to Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. I am Adingor. This week on Fixing South Sudan, an intensive debate ensues about the Parliament's controversial Privileges and Emoluments Bill, which triggered the resignation of the SPLM Chief Whip from the position in the Transitional National Legislative Assembly. Is Honorable Atem Garang a hero or a villain? And what are the echoes for the bold president, for the party, and for the National Legislative Assembly? Joining us in the program is Honorable Atem Garang DeKuek, a prominent SPLM politician and lawmaker, the former SPLM Chief Whip in the TNLA, and the former Deputy Speaker in the Sudan National Assembly from 2005 to 2011. We have the honor of welcoming him to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mading, for fixing South Sudan. We hope we will have the right tools to fix South Sudan.
How are you today?
I'm doing well, and we are following the events which are taking place in Addis Ababa.
There's been much talk about the Emoluments and Privileges Bill, and just tell us what is the substance of the bill?
Well, the bill, I think the issue of the bill has already been fixed. It has become a part of the history, because what happened was that the bill is an amendment to an old bill which was passed in 2010 for the constitutional post holders in the whole country. It means from the commissioner of the county to the president of the republic, they are in that particular bill. So the assembly thought of, because there is a new body in the assembly, it's called Parliamentary Service Commission. That Parliamentary Service Commission, one of its functions is to fix the emoluments and the privileges of the MPs, plus other functions they do. So that one was thought, now instead of the executive doing the emoluments and privileges of the MPs on their behalf, it's better the commission to do that. So that was the initial thing, which I think it was 2016. And then later on, 2017, it was supposed to be done together between the executive and the parliament. It means by the executive, the old law says it cannot be amended unless it is initiated by the executive itself. So now the assembly thought of extracting the parts, the sections, which are mainly concerned with the legislators. So, and therefore the bill was based on this. And when the Parliamentary Service Commission delayed, the assembly thought of a select committee from both houses, National Legislative Assembly and then the Council of State. It's called legislature. So that committee, that Assembly committee, start to study the emoluments of the of the members. Then they thought of at least coming up with a, what do you call it, with a design of looking into the past salary of the MPs before the devaluation of the currency. So they found that in 2014 or 2013, the salary or the pay of the MP was equivalent to at least $3,000. So they thought of making this into the current rate of the Bank of South Sudan, Central Bank of South Sudan, so that you can be paid $3,000 in South Sudanese pounds. That means you multiply that with 132, plus other privileges which will be added there. So this is what actually they did.
The issue is that there is a wide discontent about the salary. The salary is too low, and hence the change.
That is correct. The salary of an MP today, if you compare it with the real market, is about $30.
$30 a month.
A month.
For a lawmaker.
For a lawmaker, and
in
also
the Republic of South Sudan.
Yes, and for a soldier also is it is $4 per month. For a worker is $2 per month. So you can see the lawmaker is better than a soldier, than a doctor. Doctor is getting about $7 a month.
You are the chief whip, or you were the chief whip of the SPLM in the TNLA.
Yes.
And when you had this issue, how did you come in?
Well, when the committee came with its report, before tabling it in the assembly, it has to be passed through the leadership of the assembly, which includes me. And then when we look into the figures, I was of the opinion, no, those figures are very high, because if we make our money in the rate of the Bank of South Sudan, the present rate, and we leave others out, this one will not be good with the party I represent, will not be good with the government I represent. Because when you talk about government chief whip, it means you represent the policies of the government in the assembly. When you talk about the chairperson of the Caucus of a ruling party, you represent the opinions of your party. So I thought that those figures, if are only for us in the assembly, are not, we don't change the figures of others, then there will be a row, and it can turn to be a political row. So
you wanted holistic approach to the whole issues.
Correct, because the economy is one. We are going to Konyo the same. We are sharing the same hospital. We are with all the other sectors of the community. So I said, okay, now can we contact the executive before we could table this into the assembly? That one was said, no, we will pass it first, and we will take it to the executive. My argument was that if suppose we take it to the executive, and the executive refuse it, say no, we don't have money, even your own salary, we have a lot. I was saying, first of all, we have a lot of arrears in the assembly, which are not being paid. We have our own salary, I think 2 months or 3 months is not paid. So I was saying, okay, let us calculate all our arrears. And when we have known how much are our arrears, then we have to claim them first. Number two, we have a car loan, which is not given to us. And it's a right of a member to have a car loan during the time he's in the assembly, and he will be paying it back. So I said, let us secure those things first, and then this emolument can be later with others. It will not be we alone, because the situation we are facing is a situation, people in my constituency which I am representing them, they are not being paid for the last 5 months. From January to May, when we were talking about this, they were not paid.
Let me understand your argument. Were you saying that because the financial situation is bad, let's not raise the salaries anywhere? Or did you say, if we have to raise the salaries, let's do it uniformly across the whole economy?
No, the point is this. If I have a salary which is not paid to me for 2 months, how do you raise my salary from 10,000, the chief whip, thousand Sudanese pounds to 500,000, and I'm not getting the 10,000 monthly. From where do you think the government will bring that money? So I was saying, let us sit first with the executive to see what can they afford to give us. First of all, will they afford to give us our arrears, which is a right, which we are supposed to get it? Will they afford to give us our salary on monthly basis, with even the old rate? Will they afford? If they said, yeah, we will afford to give your salary on monthly basis, and we can afford also adding something on the top, then that could be very nice with us. Now, if you pass a law, and then you go, and then the president does not assent to it, then you will create a problem between you and the executive.
You wanted consultations.
Yeah, I wanted consultation.
And what about consultations within the caucus, which represents the majority of the MPs? What happened?
Also, you know, on the 25th of May, I called a meeting of the caucus. It was announced over TV. The previous 2 days was announced over radio, Juba. There the chief whip wants his members of the Caucus, of the SPLM, to have a meeting on the 25th May. The quorum was not there. Only about 49 people came. So, and then the 49, they expressed themselves that you don't dictate us. We have to pass this law, and then if the executive doesn't want to implement it, it will be a different issue. But otherwise, we cannot be dictated. So there were no quorum.
You couldn't get your members to listen to you.
They refused.
Did you fail to lead in not being able to control your caucus?
No, you know, the MPs are not like students. You cannot control them just like students. You have to argue. It's an argument. These are leaders. These are politicians. So you cannot force them. You have to. This is why I wanted to consult them, to say, look, this bill will be bad with our party, and the elections will be coming maybe less than 3 years or 2 years coming, or 1.5 years. We are going for elections. So if we are seen like people who are interested in ourselves, we are not interested in the teachers who are in our constituencies, the nurses, all those who are working there for the interests of our people. If we don't take care of them, then they may not vote for our party. So I want to consult them, but they were already having their position that we want to pass this bill and then let it go to the executive. Let them tell us why they will refuse it.
And when you couldn't get the quorum and you could not get the members to agree, you tendered in your resignation, not just as chief whip, but also as MP. Stunning.
Yes, the point is correct. When I find myself, my people are not listening to me. I am not agreeing with the committee, not agreeing with the leadership of the assembly. So I find I was only one person, maybe plus one in the Council of States, who are saying this bill should not be a priority one. Our priority one should be our car loan. Priority two should be our arrears, which are not paid for years. And then the priority three will be a social support fund, which we have in the assembly. We're supposed to look into it to assist the MPs. When I felt that I'm alone, and for sure, being a chief whip, if I go into the assembly, and it was tabled, the other, what do you call it? It was 28th of May. The bill was in the agenda to be discussed and to be passed. But I did not attend the sitting, because if I attend the sitting and I oppose it, and it is passed by the majority, and I am the chief whip, then it will look as if the policies of my party, the policy of the government I representing, has been defeated, and that will be politically not good. So it's better I have to abstain myself from the sitting. Now the bill was deferred to the next sitting, with the reason that Atem Garang is not there, And therefore, we cannot discuss this. And people, there was uproar.
The basis of your objection was on principle.
Yes. So as principle of the party, and my principle as an individual also, I believe that if African philosophy goes this way. If there is a difficult situation in the family or in the household, the father and the mother or the parents or the guardians, they cannot have food before the children could eat.
Survival of the fittest does not count.
That doesn't come here. The African philosophy said the strongest will be the last to eat.
Why don't we take a break from that?
It's okay.
Welcome to Dolco Media Services. We have so many services for you, such as video production, camera hiring, sound system hiring, event management, passport photo, stand-up comedy, printing, drama, music, dance, multimedia, and photography. Dolco Media Services, our culture, our pride.
Welcome back to Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. I am Adingor, and with us is Honorable Atem Garang DeKuek, a prominent SPLM politician and lawmaker and the former SPLM chief whip in the Transitional National Legislative Assembly. In this program, we speak of fixing South Sudan. If out of a multitude, you stand out and you say, I object to this proposition, is that fixing South Sudan?
For sure, that is the fixing of South Sudan. No, those who have fixed the world, they were not many, they were few. So all the things which are put correctly are not put by many people, are put by few people. So therefore, if I believe my position is correct morally, I will follow it. Whether others like it or they not like it, I will follow it. Yes, and then also, you look into the principle of your party. You look into the principle of the organization you are following. If the principle we talk about, justice, equality, then you have to implement them into yourself. You start.
If we talk about the principle of your party,
yes,
you resigned without consulting the man who decreed you into the position.
No, the point is this. I was not resigning from the party, but I was resigning from an institution.
And from a position where you were appointed and given the trust of the chairman of your party, and yet you did not go back to him.
Well, I will go back to him by resigning from the assembly, telling him that I'm not coping up with the situation there, and even I don't want to be a member of the parliament. But later on, because you know, when you resign from the parliament as a member of parliament, it means all the other positions you held in the assembly, they will automatically they will be invalidated. You will not be a member of being a chairperson or being a deputy chairperson or being a chairperson of a caucus. That one will go. So I resigned from the assembly because I don't want to be a member of the assembly. If they were going to pass the law, I was not going to be a member of it.
You were elected an MP in 2010 by acclamation or consensus, and you chose to relinquish that position.
Well, this is why I have to revoke my resignation from the assembly, but I continue the resignation from the position of the chief whip, which my party approved. And they saw the point I was saying, and also they have to say the bill has to be suspended for the time being until the economic situation of the country is improved a bit, and then the MPs can have their rights, and others in this country can have also their rights.
The key point you were making is that we cannot, as members of parliament, only look at our welfare alone. We have to care about the privilege in the society.
Yes, what I was saying exactly is that in my constituency, for example, I have teachers who are being paid something like $3 a month and have nurses, you have all, and you have security organ there. If they are not happy, then the administration of the payams, of the counties, of the state will not be perfect. So it's better to start with them, because you know, if you have seen the Ministry of Public Service, the schedule for the payment of the people, you start from grade 17 to grade 1. Grade 17 is the lowest, and they, as we are talking, they receive 654 pounds a month. If you go to the market, that is about $2 in the black market, $2 per month. So my view was that let us also start from here. Let us propagate, and before even propagating to raise the salaries of all employees in the country, I was of the idea how the government can pay the unpaid salaries. You pay first. You know, I was telling my colleagues that if you have a loan, somebody who have loaned from you, a goat, like the government has salaries of 5, it's ranging from 2 to 5 months. They are not paid to the employees of this country. It's like it is a loan. The government has to pay to the people. But now if you increase my salary, being a sheep whip, from 10,000 to 500,000, and the government accept this, and is unable to pay me 10,000, it's like somebody who has borrowed from you a goat, and you want to say, you know, I have a bull. You can borrow it, and you will pay me later on. Do you think somebody who is unable to pay you a goat or a chicken, will he or she accept that?
A lot of comments have been made about your decision, about your stance on the Emoluments bill. Some call you a hero, others say you are a villain. Which are you?
I am none of them. I am Atem Garang. I have expressed my opinion, and my party stood with that opinion.
And the opinions of other MPs, they are saying that you betrayed them, that you wanted to look nice by being the one who appears to be in support of the people.
Well, all of us were elected to support the people. What about them? Are they not supporting the people? I was elected by villagers, and I have to support those who are serving the villagers.
The lawmakers are the face of the nation, yes. And some of them end up on borders because of the miserable conditions. Is that not a terrible thing for the country?
The MPs are not a class. They are not a class in any country. In Britain, they do use bicycles. You have not seen this. They use bicycles. So we can use bicycles. There's no problem. We will go to our villages. We will go on foot with them. There are no roads there in the villages. What will we use? We will use the border in the villages. I was elected by by people from rural areas. So I don't see that I'm a class. I'm not a special class. I'm a part of them.
Everyone is equal before the law, and the MPs were saying, this is our right, so let us have it.
Yes, it is the right, but the timing is not correct. I'm telling them that your right is, yes, is your right. But what about rights of the others? You know, when there is certain times when your right doesn't become your right when the time is not appropriate. When the time is appropriate, your right is correct and you get it. And people will support you. Yes, they're right. They will get it when our economy improves, and when others also, their livelihood has been improved.
Let me take you back to the time when you were Deputy Speaker in Khartoum. You waged a huge war over the referendum law, which was eventually passed, and South Sudan became an independent country. Knowing what you know now about South Sudan, the internal bloodletting that is happening, the suffering of the people, do you regret your efforts to fight for the independence of South Sudan?
No, we will never regret. We cannot regret. What about those who have lost their lives? Those who were killed during the war? It's because their blood was to pave the way for our independence. You know, when you are born, you celebrate your birthday. When you are sick, you don't regret your best day. Even if it comes and you are in the hospital, it's still your children, your relatives, your friends, people who know you, they will come with candles celebrating your birthday. So why should we regret the independence of our
The
country?
SPLM, your party, struggled for so long for the liberation of the country, and then it got tired somewhere down the road. What is your opinion about how to fix SPLM, to fix South Sudan?
No, the South Sudan will be fixed, and then the SPLM is trying to fix itself by unifying its rank, which was segmented during 2013 and 2014 war, and I'm quite sure they will unite, and then they will fix the country. Other South Sudanese who are in other parties also, we want them also to fix themselves, and then together we fix the country.
What is the value of reunification?
Well, the strength of unified people is that they do one thing, they think the same direction, they solve their problems through peaceful means. This is the meaning of unity. If you are not united, you quarrel, and then you may end up using violence. But when you are united, it means even the way you think, the way you do your thing, at least even if it is not identical, then you can understand yourself.
The SPLM has so many broken wings. Is it conceivable that you put them back together and make a strong SPLM? Given the differences that we have seen, and people have taken up arms to fight themselves, isn't it necessary to just say, let's divorce? Why is it necessary that the SPLM must unite?
Well, they are saying this. I was having a different opinion, and I have written this. It was in the newspapers, maybe some who do not read Arabic. It was in Arabic. I was saying, if I was the way I was thinking, if it was the way people in the SPLM, in Juba, SPLM, IO, the other SPLM, they could sit together. They form a committee from those factions. And they sit down, they said, okay, now, where do we differ? They have to identify where do they differ. If it is a leadership, then they said, okay, why don't we have a different SPLM parties? Do we carry the same name, SPLM, and then you fix Juba there, you fix Tanzania there, you fix whatever, Khartoum there, you fix whatever you want to fix there? Or do we shelve SPLM name in a museum, and then we create new parties which do not carry same name? After you agree, if you have agreed over this, then you will see your strength. But how do you know your strength in the country?
Test it out in an elections.
Yes, before the elections, you go to the assembly. Those who are elected in 2010, ask them who is with this, which wing. Let them be free. Free, just people, you come out with which wing are you standing. Now, if you have 20% with a certain wing, then it will have a 20% of responsibility of the nation, and even the assets of the SPLM can be divided that way, 20%, 30%, 50%, so there will be no quarrel.
A dialogue would be the way to resolve it. As we speak, there is a summit underway in Ethiopia between our president and the former Vice President, Riek Machar, and much of the breakdown of the talks has to do with power sharing. And what is your opinion on power sharing? When people claim certain percentage, does it have any basis?
Well, the power sharing in Addis Ababa is a bit puzzling, because when in Naivasha in 2005, the power sharing was negotiated. It was based between Northern Sudan and Southern Sudan. Southern Sudan was assumed to be representing 33 or 34% of the population of Sudan. And Northern Sudan was representing 66 or 67% of the population. Therefore, the power sharing was based on that. Now, in Addis Ababa, it's a bit difficult to argue how do a certain faction ask, for example, to have 20% or 10%. Is it based on what?
What do you think is the correct basis?
The correct basis, people can come to look into the National Assembly You take, for example, forget about those who were elected to Khartoum. Take those who were elected to Juba. There were 170. See among them, how many are with the government in Juba? Is it 20%? Is it 90%? And I believe they are almost 98%. They are here in Juba, of those who are elected 2010. And those who are with Riek, for example, if they are 10%, then he should deserve 10% of the power at the nation level. Then we go to the states. For example, take Quebec State. Those members of parliament who were elected.
We look at the support base for any political party or anyone claiming to have support. And
Yes.
then we use that as a benchmark.
Exactly. Exactly. You use the members who were elected in 2010, who are with which party, which are with which party, and then this will constitute the percentage which they are supposed to be given.
Do you believe we will have an agreement sooner rather than later?
Well, the problem is not the agreement itself. The problem is that the confidence among the partners who are talking is the one which we ask. Do they have a confidence among themselves? But I'm quite sure in 2002, when Dr. Riek came back to the SPLM, it was easy. People talked, they built the confidence among themselves, and people joined hands.
It will happen, but it will be difficult.
Well, I did not see the photos when they were checking hands, how they were looking. If they were looking friendly, then we will hope that they will overcome the issues. But I'm quite sure both men and the teams with them, that this nation is in their heart. Because you cannot fight for over 20 years to bring freedom and independence to your people, and you will not look into their welfare. So I believe they will try to overcome any psychological problem.
Can South Sudan be fixed?
Can be fixed and will be fixed. I'm sure of this.
How?
South Sudan will be fixed, first of all, by democratization. It means we have to make a plural democratic system. We have to have a political system which each one can express it.
Democracy.
Yes, it's one.
Democracy.
Yes, it's one. The other one, development. When you have democracy, then you will have a political stability. And when you have a political stability, then you have security. And if you have security, then you can develop. You can make your roads, because the money which is going for security will go for development, will go for services. And to fix it.
Honorable Atem Garang, thanks for coming on.
No, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.